So far, October has really been underwhelming, but in the next 2 or 3 minutes, you're going to hear a lot of bullish indicators that might actually cause a mid-October rally. Number one, we have BlackRock shilling Bitcoin and crypto left and right. Crypto being adopted faster than the internet and mobile phones. A presentation here at a conference in Brazil recently from BlackRock. BlackRock, to remind you, $10 trillion asset manager means 5 times bigger than the entire crypto markets, of which Bitcoin is taking around 1.1 trillion, and then the rest is all altcoins. Then we have another bullish, potentially bullish event, which is that finally the FTX claims will be distributed. The bankrupt exchange FTX that collapsed in late 2022 is now planning to repay customers in cash. So as far as I understand, this has all been liquidated already and is sitting now in USD. I don't know in actual fiat or in stablecoins, but a bankruptcy judge has now approved the plan to repay its crypto customers. And we're talking about $16 billion US. We're talking about $16 billion US. And in fact, FTX customers are not only being made whole, but actually getting an 18% interest of the value that their account had in November of 2022. Obviously, this is, I guess, denominated in fiat or in USD. So in that time, I guess, Bitcoin did outperform this 18% by a lot. I'm also sure a lot of these lawyers and law firms got a lot of money for over the past 2 years. But this is very, very bullish news. And to put things into context here as well, we can see, for example, looking at the Bitcoin ETF data, that in the Bitcoin spot ETF, we had a cumulative inflow since January, when the Bitcoin ETF was approved, of 18.7 billion. And a lot of people say, including myself, I believe that the approval of the Bitcoin spot ETF has pumped the Bitcoin price massively. And the amount of FTX claims that's getting paid back now is actually a similar amount. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that 16 billion is going to get back into crypto, but these people have all been crypto holders, right? Maybe some of them are taking a lot of chips off the table and just cash it in, keep it on the bank or whatever. But I'm sure a lot of people are going to ape right back in because that's just how crypto works. Anyways, we also have Chris Berniski from Placeholder VC quoting Jamie Coutts from Real Vision here. The bottom is in for global central bank liquidity for this cycle. Sit back and watch other central banks join in. This is bullish for Bitcoin and will be rocket fuel for alts. And we've been seeing that the liquidity here has been going down over the past 3 years, as also interest rates have been very high. We had to deal with this post-COVID era. But now central banks around the world are easing their policies and lowering interest rates. We've seen a 50 basis point cut by the Fed just 2 weeks ago that was announced. The ECB is already cutting rates. The Chinese central bank is also pumping money and liquidity back into the economy. We have Launchtober with elections in pretty much a month, less than a month now, and a lot of liquidity rails being built, right, and being launched. We talk also about new stablecoins coming out. PayPal's stablecoin also has $1 billion in on-chain liquidity now. And speaking of the election race, we are now seeing a huge pump in favor of Trump here in Polymarket. Just a week ago or two, Harris was actually leading. Now Trump not only took the lead again, but actually pumped big time. And I think this is mostly because of the campaign that Trump gave or had in Butler, Pennsylvania, which is the same place where he also had the first assassination attempt. And none other than Elon Musk also showed up to that rally. And I think that flipped Pennsylvania, which gives 19 electoral votes and is one of the most decisive, I guess, swing states in all of these. In this electoral race, there are 6 swing states, and Trump is now leading at 3 of them that have the most votes. So this looks like Trump is being predicted or forecasted to win this election, and that obviously would be probably more bullish on the economy. At least that's what most people are saying, but obviously we have to wait and see. Another very, very bullish thing, regardless of elections in the US, regardless of anything else, is that the UAE just becomes more and more of a friendly regulatory hub for crypto. It already is. That's why a lot of people, including myself, have moved here, amongst others. And now they have also just announced no VAT, no value-added tax on crypto transactions in the UAE. And this is not only from now on, but actually implemented retrospectively from January 1st, 2018, which means that businesses that have previously paid VAT on crypto transactions are getting their money back. Is there any country in the world where the tax office is giving you money back retrospectively? Doesn't happen, doesn't exist. Here in the UAE, they're actually doing it, which is an aggressive step towards becoming more and more and strengthening a position of being the crypto hub. I think in the East, we have obviously here Dubai, the UAE, Singapore, maybe also Hong Kong, but I think Singapore would probably be second or first alongside Dubai. But Dubai is now also aggressively implementing more and more regulation to attract more crypto businesses, to attract more capital, and to also be considered as a legitimate financial hub. They don't want to go down the rails of being considered as an offshore tax haven, right? They want to be an actual business hub. And if you are here in Dubai, and I hope you come for customers, you're going to experience Dubai. I think everything that you read about Dubai, everything that you hear about it, without ever having been here, if you step foot here in Dubai in the UAE, all these thoughts that you had about it will probably be vanished within 1 hour. Now, looking into the interchain price movements today, we're seeing everything slightly down. We had a big pump last night, but that was wiped out immediately. The market is still sideways, like I said in the intro, that everything is quite boring, except for one coin that is just doing its own thing right now, and that is Saga, $2.76. This was below $1 a few weeks ago after the honeymoon launch phase that it had. But Saga, very decent liquidity. We already got 6 airdrops, or actually we got 5 airdrops and a 6th one we're probably getting today. So Saga, a gift that keeps on giving, not only for airdrops, but also staking APR, 8.62%. And if you look at the validators, all the validators have their commissions at 2.8%, including Stakecito, of course, and there's only 21 validators so far. So even if you delegate to us and Kepler warns you that you're delegating to a validator within the top 20, then you can still delegate to us because the set is still quite small. And like I said, Saga is still in the early phases of rolling out. It's a phase rollout. They have their cohort of 400 plus projects, gaming projects mostly, that are going to launch as chainlets on Saga in the midterm or longer term. Obviously, this is a longer term project. But so far, I think the token rollout distribution has been very nice. Now, we launched this new format here also on the Cito Zone Interchain News. The 3rd report is already out there. And one of the main news in that report is also with regards to Babylon. We talked about it in the last video, how Babylon is going to raise the caps on October 9. But the Bitcoin block times have been faster than expected, which means that the caps are actually being raised today. And if you want to stake your BTC because you didn't get into the first round, then here's what you have to do. You have to be alert because this time there's not going to be a cap in terms of max BTC. The first round was 1,000 BTC in cap, which is around 60 million in TVL. Now the cap is 10 Bitcoin blocks. So it's a time cap basically. And as many BTC that fit into that into those 10 blocks will be staked. And if you manage to get into any of these 10 blocks, you're not only staking your BTC, but you're also earning points. You're also earning points. 10,000 Babylon points are being distributed per BTC block to active stakers. There's also a 50% reduction of unbonding fees and more things that you need to know here in this report. So check this out. If you prefer also reading than watching or listening, then I also strongly recommend you to bookmark the Cito Zone Twitter page, also our website, cito.zone, because we're also publishing this article here as a blog post on our website. And here's also the official announcement from Babylon that Cap 2 is opening early. So stay alert today. It was originally expected on the 9th. Now it's expected around 8 p.m. UTC on Tuesday, October 8, 15 hours earlier than planned. Get your BTC ready, and then what you do is you come here, you connect your BTC wallet, and then you choose your finality provider, basically your validator that you're staking with, and you can choose Stakecito. I'm very proud that we managed to attract 0.489 BTC in the first round. It was extremely competitive, filled up in 2 blocks. And if you look at the powerhouse, there's like liquid staking providers, enterprise, large validators, organizations, extremely competitive. But for us, as a retail validator basically, and a small kind of unknown validator in this game of institutional validators and enterprise validators, right? I think it's very impressive that the Stakecito community has delegated roughly 0.5 BTC to our node. And now we do rely again on your support, and I really appreciate each and every one of you who is staking your BTC with us, who is staking also any other coin with us, whether it's Saga, TIA, Dimension, any of these coins. Akash Network we also launched around a year and a half ago. So yeah, this is really a competitive game, to be honest, and being a validator is getting more and more competitive, which is also why we always try to improve our presence, our services that we offer. We keep growing the team. We keep hiring people. We're a team of 8 people now. But yeah, you can stake also here through our website, stakecito.com/staking/Babylon. And then you will get access here and you will directly be staking with Stakecito. We're also going to embed and integrate more and more front ends so that the Stakecito website actually becomes a place where you come to and you can liquid stake, you can stake your BTC through Babylon, and you can just participate in a lot of these things here directly through our website. And yeah, this is basically it. You can also stake your Atom here with Drop, earn droplet points, and so on and so forth. Restake your ETH as well. We're also an EigenLayer. Much, much appreciated. And speaking of EigenLayer, I think the Eigen token is probably always considered as this kind of benchmark for the Babylon token. Obviously, Babylon does not have its token live yet. I'm not sure when it will go live. Mainnet is obviously live already, so I think after the second cap, maybe there's going to be a third one, and then maybe a couple more kind of stress testing, a couple more bug fixing, those kind of things before the Babylon token will go live, the BBN token. But looking at what's probably the closest benchmark here, we have the Eigen token at a $6.2 billion FTV, and EigenLayer has a $10.7 billion TVL, total value locked, basically locked ETH that are being restaked through EigenLayer. And ever since the Eigen token dropped now, developers can also deploy AVSs. So this is the benchmark, probably. Babylon currently has a 1,000 BTC TVL, which is around $16 million. I think we can probably cross $1 billion by tomorrow if the 10 BTC blocks get filled out, and I think there's definitely demand for that. We'll see. That's a bold prediction, I know, but we'll see how that will play out. They will probably 13, 14x their TVL within 10 blocks. Now, getting back to Saga, Saga not only had impressive price movement, but also the Vault 5 airdrop that is going to be distributed most likely today or tomorrow, like sometime this week, I guess. And obviously, it's always up to you. Do you believe in Saga? Do you maybe need cash? Do you need to cash something in to pay for bills, right? Depending on your personal situation. But I think the Saga airdrop, like I said in the beginning, is a gift that keeps on giving. Restaking, basically staking and compounding your Saga airdrop again, will probably qualify you for the next round. There is going to be a next round and another one and another one. I think what they're doing here is just breeding this loyal community of people that are getting used to just claim and stake their Saga tokens. Loyal community members, and the more this will filter out, I think the higher the claim ratio will be. The one for the Vault 5 airdrop has been around 83%, I heard Rebecca saying in a recent video. One of the juiciest projects in the Cosmos ecosystem is, of course, Thorchain, which is one of the largest chains in Cosmos by market cap. And they had a very impressive Q3, $8.2 billion roughly in swap volume on their DEX that generated around $6.4 million in liquidity fees. And note, this is just in Q3 alone. Very, very impressive stats here. JP Tor is also going to be at Cosmos. We actually do have the agenda release for day one later tonight. So probably by the time you're watching this video, you can check out the Cosmos day one agenda, where Tor is also going to be speaking together with Ran on the main stage. And what's coming up on the roadmap is not only IBC and CosmWasm, which would then make Thorchain probably one of the biggest and most established Cosmos chains out there at a full scale, right? Because a lot of people also say, oh, if it doesn't have IBC, it's not really Cosmos. Thorchain is now implementing IBC and CosmWasm, led by Strangelove, that is doing this integration, which is here this app layer that also integrates then Kujira and also Levana. But also they're expanding to Base and Solana, and also implement improvements on their LP sites. Price-wise, we're below $5 right now, which implies a 2 billion FTV and a TVL of around $250 million. The all-time high was at around $21. I do have a bag of Rune. I don't have a huge bag, but I do have a bag, and I think I bought them here around the time also when I did a bunch of interviews with them like a year and a half, 2 years ago. Rune, definitely a coin that I'm holding on to, and Thorchain, one of the strongest product market fits in all of crypto. Now I have two more news for you. One that could actually be considered bad news, and another one that's actually very good news where you can also win 500 USD. But first off, let's start with what could be perceived as bad news. And that is the announcement by Informal Systems, which is a company led by Ethan Buckman, one of the two co-founders of Cosmos, alongside Jay Kwan. And Informal Systems has been the core maintainer for the Cosmos Hub roadmap and technical development over the past 3 years. Now, in this post by Tyborg, I read the whole thing. It doesn't really say much in terms of like their concrete next steps, but you can really read between the lines that they're probably not going to go for a renew of their mandate. Basically for 2024, Informal was entirely funded by the on-chain treasury. They made an on-chain proposal. They got funding for the entire year. And the promise was to basically build out ICS v2, which they just shipped. And then also both Forge and Hydro, which are both going to launch within the next 2 weeks. Now, they are still committed to ship and maintain this throughout the rest of this year, which means October, November, December. And after that, they are not going to seek community pool funding for their development in 2025. Jihan actually came out and then clarified this in much clearer words, what this actually means, this forum post. Jihan, one of the OG developers, one of the smartest developers also in the Cosmos ecosystem, who's been a frequent guest here on the channel as well. We talked about interchain security like 3 years ago here on the channel. Did live streams, Q&As, and all these kind of things. So I consider Jihan not working on the technical development on the Cosmos Hub as a big, big loss. But he's also pointing out a very important thing, which is that Informal is building a technical roadmap and they're focused on the product. But what matters more eventually is also the whole marketing, business development, and kind of perception of that product and how it's positioned in the broader market, right? So what he's also saying, and what the other post also says, and this official statement by Informal Systems, is that the Cosmos Hub needs unified product leadership, which is also something that I've been trying to campaign for ever since I really got into Cosmos and kind of been following the Cosmos Hub development, right? There was a time when I did my best to unite Jay, Quan, and Zaki. I think I have the last publicly recorded or publicly streamed conversation between Zaki Minion and Jay Quan, but unfortunately that didn't really work out. Now Informal is going to pass the torch in terms of product development to another team. They also say that there are a couple of teams that do not want to be publicly disclosed yet that would probably take over the Cosmos Hub development. I think that there are some interesting teams like Binary Builders, right? Like Noam from Binary has also proposed Halo, which is this roll-up framework as a consumer chain, which could be very interesting. We also have the Skip team that's been floating around in that conversation, in that context, would also be extremely, extremely bullish. Then we also have Sunny, right? Sunny has also trying to become the foundation council on the Interchain Foundation. And Informal also stating here that they're coordinating with the ICF to see what are kind of the next steps to how the ICF can better support the hub and reunify leadership. Ethan Buckman, who is not only the founder and CEO of Informal, but also the on the foundation council at the ICF, is apparently also moving on from the ICF, which means he's going to leave the ICF. And I think at Cosmos, I really don't know exact details on what is going to happen next for the ICF, Informal, and Cosmos Hub development. I think at Cosmos and probably after Cosmos, we're going to know a lot more. But this is definitely looking like some big changes are happening. And I think this is probably also the last chance for the Cosmos Hub to attempt in building out a solid, unified product team with proper BD, proper marketing, and also proper funding. Maybe this could be seed funded by the ICF, which would then say, okay, we're putting 10 million to this, 15 million, whatever, for 2 years to fund Team XYZ, and then the Cosmos Hub would have its own core team. Also, remember that the ADAO, the Atom Accelerator, went through a lot, especially recently. To be honest, I have not been too much on Twitter because I'm just heads down preparing for Cosmos, and it's extremely intense. And being on Twitter is just extremely distracting as well, but it's also obviously a good place to stay updated on all things. But now, finishing it off with definitely positive news, which is the DCF, the Decentralized Corporation Foundation, which is the partner foundation or co-foundation that is funding the development on Agoric. And they're also our media partners. So we've been covering a lot of the development with big focus on Interprotocol, IST, the decentralized stable token for the interchain, which I really hope is also going to be more hub aligned and integrates more LSTs like the Atom, for example, from Drop, but also other tokens, and hopefully also Bitcoin derivatives, right? Or alloyed Bitcoin, for example. So I think IST is still very much needed. But yeah, the DCF now launched a newsletter, and one of the first 500 subscribers is going to get 500 IST, which is 500 USD basically. And the DCF is also going to be at Cosmos, and they always do very creative marketing campaigns, giveaways. So if you're coming to Cosmos, you should definitely check out their booth because they always do creative stuff at their booth, giveaways and all these kind of things. The Agoric side of things, we reported recently about Agoric's integration with Noble to enable faster USDC transactions and transfers. Agoric really focuses on chain abstraction and orchestration, simplifying the user experience, abstracting a lot of the complexity away. And I think this is much, much needed in Cosmos DeFi, especially the fact that we have these sovereign, aka siloed and fragmented communities, liquidity, applications, right? And Agoric aims to fix that. This actually feature went live in late July of this year, so it's already there. Now we do have to see a couple of flagship applications. Nonetheless, check out this newsletter from the DCF. Sign up now. I'll put a link in the video below, and then you should be in the bucket to potentially win also 500 IST. And as I said, go check out their booth at customers. They're going to be there, and they're going to have a talk. They're going to have a panel. They have a workshop. They also have a bounty at Hackmas. So if you're a developer, you can also check out their bounty program at Hackmas. And you can also apply for a grant here, right? And the DCF is also funding technical development and contributions. And if there's one thing that I truly appreciate about the DCF and the Agoric team, is that they're focused on their thing. They're fully in their lane. They're not getting involved too much in this toxicity and drama and all these kind of things. They just keep doing their thing. And eventually, obviously, the market's been tough over the past 2 years. They launched right when the bear market really, really kicked in. So they never really experienced a proper bull run. But they keep building, right? Dian is an absolute legend in the space. Dian is an absolute JavaScript OG, has been around for decades, not just years, but decades. And I think Agoric is going to do well, but obviously there's still a lot of work ahead. And yes, they do need a couple of flagship applications to gain traction, but I think their approach and their strategy is the correct one.